You are the sculptor and the marble, the fire and the forge, the question and the answer. You are not a product of fate, but of choice, repeated daily, like prayer, like practice, like breath. Let the words of Epictetus dwell in your heart. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Your freedom begins when you see through illusion into essence. The world may hand you trials, but you hand back character, forged in silence, shaped by reflection, armored in discipline, for no adversity can conquer a soul that chooses virtue. The path is not meant to be easy, it is meant to be true. Do not curse the thorns, they teach you to walk with awareness. Do not fear the darkness, it reveals the light within. Look not outward for your worth, it is not stamped by others, it is summoned from within, where your soul stands alone before the eternal and whispers, I am enough. The wise man is not loud, he is clear, not boastful, but certain, for he knows the difference between attention and meaning, between applause and truth. Each moment is a chance to climb, not mountains outside, but peaks within. Conquer your impulses, master your tongue, strengthen your thoughts. That is where true glory resides. Do not envy those who seem to have more, for wealth without wisdom is decay in disguise. Seek instead the riches of self-command, the fortune of moral clarity. Let your life be a hymn of courage, a temple of effort, a river flowing toward the good, for what you become is far greater than what you gain. The soul does not grow through pleasure. It grows through striving and stillness, through resistance and release, through seeking and surrendering. To know yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, said Aristotle, but knowing is not enough. You must also choose, and choosing rightly is the mark of a free man. The ancients did not leave us gold, they left us guidance, not monuments, but meaning, not comfort, but clarity, and we honor them, not with statues, but by living as they taught. Resist the urge to explain yourself. The tree does not justify its branches to the wind, nor does the eagle apologize for flying high. Let your life speak for itself. Live as if each act is eternal, for it is the seed of who you are becoming. Let every word be a note in your sacred song, every deed a stroke in the masterpiece of your soul. Remember Marcus Aurelius. When you rise in the morning, say to yourself, I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, selfishness, but none of these can harm me, for I have the power to remain just. Let that be your armor, not bitterness, but calm, not resistance, but resolve, not anger, but alignment with the divine order. You are not here to be entertained, you are here to evolve, not to escape, but to endure, not to follow, but to forge a path where none yet exists. Speak little and do much. Think deeply and act clearly. Feel fully and yet stand firmly. For this is the way of the philosopher warrior, the path of the true soul. No man becomes great by chance, only by choice, only by discipline, only by the long, quiet battle against what is easy in service of what is right. So rise today with fire, not of fury, but of focus. Let your heart be quiet and your steps be sure. Let your soul remember who you are and what you are called to become. Let your mornings begin not with regret, but with reverence, not with dread, but with determination. Awaken as the Stoics did, ready not for ease, but for excellence, ready not to be pleased, but to be purposeful. As Heraclitus taught, character is destiny, and each action chisels your fate into the stone of eternity. Your choices are echoes in the cave of time. What you do today will sing forever in the chambers of your soul. Let your mind not wander into the garden of distractions, but stay rooted in the soil of presence. For distraction is the enemy of depth, and without depth there can be no truth. The wise man does not rush, for he knows that haste is the disguise of fear, and busyness is the mask of avoidance. Walk steadily with your values as your compass and your reason as your guide. Do not wait for ideal circumstances, for they are illusions in the theater of the weak. Every moment is fertile ground for strength. Every breath is a chance to return to your higher self. You must remember the words of Socrates. He who is not content with what he has will not be content with what he would like to have. For peace is not in possession, but in perception. Let silence be your sanctuary. For in silence, the soul speaks. In silence, wisdom grows in silence. Illusions dissolve. Let not your tongue lead before your thoughts have bowed before truth. You are not what happens to you. You are what you do with what happens to you. You are not the wound. You are the healer. You are not the storm. You are the one who learns to sail through it. Live not in reaction, but in intention. Let not the behavior of others rob you of your inner kingdom. For, as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind. Not outside events realize this, and you will find strength. The world tempts you with noise and novelty, but you must hunger for stillness and substance. For only in stillness can you meet the eternal. Only in stillness can you become whole. When pain visits, greet it as a teacher, not a tyrant. For every trial is a classroom, every hardship a sacred scripture written in tears and tested in fire. Do not fear solitude, for in solitude the soul stretches its wings. In solitude the inner voice becomes clear, and in solitude the eternal speaks without words. Choose discomfort when it is aligned with virtue over comfort that breeds decay. For the path of the philosopher is steep, but it leads to the summit of the soul. Do not seek to be impressive. Seek to be impeccable, not admired, but aligned with the good, with the just, with the noble. For those who walk with virtue, walk with the gods. Let not your opinions harden into pride. Be always a student, always willing to unlearn, always open to the whispers of truth that blow like wind through the corridors of being. Honor your body as the temple of your actions. Nourish it, not with excess, but with discipline. Let your steps be a ritual. Let your breath be a prayer. Let your discipline be devotion. To live wisely is to live, simply to live. Simply is to live clearly, and to live clearly is to see what truly matters and what merely distracts. Remember, the flame of the soul does not roar. It glows steadily and warms silently. Be like that flame, undisturbed by wind, unwavering in darkness. You are not chasing greatness. You are uncovering it. You are not climbing to become someone. You are descending into who you already are, beneath the fear, beneath the mask, beneath the noise. So today, walk as a philosopher in the marketplace of modern life, not cloaked in robes, but clothed in purpose, not preaching, but practicing, not escaping, but engaging with love and clarity. Rise again from every fall as if the ground itself were sacred, as if every stumble brought you closer to the truth, and every wound was the birthplace of wisdom. Do not ask for life to be easier. Ask to be stronger, for, as the ancients taught, it is not the burden that breaks us, but how we carry it. Lift with purpose, walk with resolve, and let no weight bend your spirit. The unexamined life is not worth living, not because it lacks comfort, but because it lacks meaning, and meaning is the lifeblood of the soul. Let your inner dialogue be your temple. Speak to yourself, not with judgment, but with justice, not with condemnation, but with clarity. For how you speak within determines how you stand without. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man. Become aware of this change, not with fear, but with reverence. You are a becoming, not a being. You are a journey, not a fixed point. Do not envy the path of others, for their destiny is not your design, and their trials are not your teachers. Honor the singular thread of your existence, for the gods did not craft you to copy, but to create. Let your virtue be like stone, enduring unshaken by storms, polished only by the winds of adversity, and carved by the hands of choice. For, as Epictetus taught, the essence of good is in the will. You cannot control all that surrounds you, but you can always govern the citadel. Within God, that fortress, with vigilance. Let no false belief pass its gates. Let no fear rule its halls. Remember, what is not under your control is not your concern, and what is your concern is always within reach. Your thoughts, your choices, your responses. These are the seeds of freedom. Let discipline be your friend, not your jailer, for discipline is the love you show to your future self. It is the path you lay with patience, the gate you build against chaos. Let not your joy depend on circumstances, but on character, for the soul that is anchored in wisdom does not rise and fall with the tides of fortune. It remains steadfast, like the Acropolis above Athens, enduring through time. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation, for the quiet mind is not dead. It is alive with awareness. It sees without grasping it, acts without shouting it, moves mountains in silence. Become like the archer who draws his bow, not to impress, but to hit his mark, who trains daily, not for applause, but for precision, for purpose, for alignment. Be content with little, for he who needs little is never poor, and he who governs his desires is richer than kings. Seek not to possess much, but to need little, and to love much. Let courage not be a moment, but a habit. Let it be found in the small choices, in the silent stand, in the private refusals to betray what you know is right. Greatness is not a destination, but a direction. It is not thunder. It is persistence. It is the steady flow of right actions, the quiet refusal to stray from the path. The soul that seeks approval is easily led astray, but the soul that seeks truth walks the hard road with quiet joy. Let your steps be guided by inner light, not external praise. Let every act become a prayer. Let every task be noble when done with presence and honor. There is no small duty. There is only sacred intention. And when night falls, let it find you not restless, but fulfilled, not frantic, but at peace. For you live this day as the ancients did, with clarity, with virtue, with courage, and with love. Stand tall in the wind, for it is not here to break you, but to shape you. The oak grows strong, not despite the storm, but because of it. Bend if you must, but never uproot from your values. Wisdom begins in wonder, and wonder opens the gates of understanding. Never lose the childlike awe for existence, for the world is full of signs for those who choose to see. He who conquers himself is the mightiest of warriors. Your greatest battles are not against the world, but against your own impulses, your own illusions, your own fears. Speak only if your words are more beautiful than silence, for silence can be a sanctuary, a source of strength, a canvas upon which your thoughts may paint clarity. Time is the wisest counselor of all, yet it speaks in whispers, not in shouts. Listen with patience. Let each passing moment be a tutor in the art of being fully present. Let your heart remain open, like the sky vast enough to hold both joy and sorrow. Without breaking, for a closed heart hardens, but an open heart strengthens. Happiness depends upon ourselves, not upon luck or riches or favor, but upon our daily choices to be just, to be kind, to be true, to live in harmony with our nature. Act with purpose, as if your deeds were to echo for eternity. For in the eyes of the gods, no action is forgotten. Every step, every decision leaves its imprint upon the soul. Be slow to promise, swift to perform, for integrity is not in what we say, but in what we do. And the soul that honors its word becomes a pillar in a crumbling world. Look not to the horizon for peace. If your mind is in turmoil, clear the temple within, and the landscape without will reflect its stillness. Train your thoughts as the athlete trains his body, not to impress, but to prepare for life's tests. For the untrained mind is like an unsharpened sword, beautiful, perhaps, but useless in battle. The man who asks questions is wise. The man who thinks he has all the answers is blind. Humility is not weakness. It is the strength to grow, to change, to learn. Let pain be your teacher, not your tyrant, for it reveals what you value. It shows you where you bleed, so you may tend the wound and strengthen the soul. Fortune is a fickle guest. Do not build your house upon her smile. Build instead upon reason, upon virtue, upon self-control, and you will remain unshaken when she leaves. Live as if you are already remembered for your character, not your fame, for your honor, not your success, for your spirit, not your possessions. He who learns but does not act is like a tree that bears no fruit. Nourish your wisdom with action. Let your knowledge become flesh and deed. Let your days be measured not by what you received, but by what you gave, for greatness lies not in gathering, but in giving in, lifting others while you rise. Despise not hardship, for it forges the soul in fire, just as iron is hardened by flame. The noble spirit is tested and revealed through trials. Remember, there is no shame in failing, only in refusing to rise again. Each stumble teaches, each scar tells a story of strength and becoming. And when your time comes, let it find you, not clinging to life, but fully lived with no regrets, only gratitude for having walked the path of the wise, the path of courage, the path of truth. Do not wish for an easy life. Wish instead for the strength to endure a hard one. For the gods bestow their hardest trials upon those destined for greatness. To be wrong is nothing unless you choose to remain. So, correction is not humiliation. It is liberation. To shed illusion is to walk closer to truth. The road to virtue is steep and narrow, but its view is eternal, and the soul that ascends it finds peace that no riches can provide. Guard your mind like a fortress, for what enters shapes what exits. Feed it with noble thoughts, and it shall reward you with noble actions. Freedom is not doing what you please. It is mastery over self, the ability to rise above impulse and act with reason, with clarity, with wisdom. Be not ruled by pleasure, for it fades quickly, leaving only emptiness behind, but let discipline be your guide, and fulfillment shall follow. Trust not the flattery of crowds, for their praise is fleeting. Instead, seek the quiet approval of your conscience, that silent voice that knows the way. The fool blames fate, the wise adapt, for though you cannot direct the wind, you can adjust your sails and reach the harbor of your choosing. Let your friendships be rooted in virtue, not convenience. A true friend sharpens your soul, like iron upon iron, challenges your vices and celebrates your growth. The secret to contentment lies not in having more, but in needing less, for he who is not a slave to his desires walks with the gods in freedom. Contemplate your mortality, not in fear, but in focus, for death is the mirror that sharpens life, that strips it of vanity and reveals what truly matters. Act with honor, even when none are watching, for the soul knows when it has betrayed itself, and the stain is not easily washed. Rejoice, not in comfort, but in courage, for the path of the noble is often lonely and hard, yet each step forward is a triumph of the eternal. Over the fleeting, he who controls others may be strong, but he who masters himself is powerful beyond measure. Seek that power, for it cannot be taken, only surrendered. The wise man is content in the present, yet prepares for the future, learns from the past, and lives in alignment with his nature. Let beauty elevate your spirit, not seduce your ego. For the highest, beauty is not in form, but in harmony, in balance, in truth. Anger is a wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. Pause, breathe, return to reason, for only calm hands can steer the ship of life. To suffer is not a curse. It is an invitation, an opportunity to deepen your wisdom, expand your empathy, and refine your soul. Do not rush the process of becoming, for the greatest trees grow slowly, their roots deep, their branches wide. So too must your character unfold with patience. Leave a legacy not of monuments, but of meaning. Let your life be a torch that ignites the fire of virtue in others long after you are gone. If you felt inspired by our journey through the Hellenic horizons, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.